Okay, so clearly Barcelona do have huge ambitions for the 2026-2027 season. And I know that the reason why Barcelona want to bring in players like Bastoni, Julian Álvarez, also maintain Joao Cancelo, also try to reignite Gerard Martin's sporting football, right? Like the fact that they want to make him one of the best left center backs in the world, it shows me that they want to really up everybody's level and overall make this squad very competitive again. And I do think that when we analyze that hypothetical team that could happen, because it's very much a possibility, but it's not promised, right? We could fail in the signing of Bastoni. We could fail in the signing of Julian Alvarez. But when we look at that hypothetical squad that clearly Deco is what he wants and what Fleek also wants, right? How does that compare to the 2024 2025 squad team? Because I do think that when we draw those comparisons, the conclusion for me is I think that Deco and Fleek are looking at hypothetical team and saying this could be a team that could be superior to the 2024 2025 squad team. And I'm going to be explaining why I'm saying that. So when we look at that team back then, which was the first season under Flick, we saw Tech in goal, Arujo, Kunde, Kubarsi, Alejandro Balde as our defenders, alongside with Inigo Martinez, who was the heart of Barcelona's defensive line. You can also add in Andreas Christensen, even though he did not really play a huge part in this successful season. And then in the midfield, we had Frankie de Jong, Pedri, Gavi was also there, Marc Asado, Fermin Lopez, Dani Olmo, and many other midfielders, right? And then in the attack, we had Lewandowski, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, and other players. But that was our main core, right? It was through Lewandowski, Rafinha, and Yamal. And the reason why this squad was so exciting and so intense is because when Fleek came in, he said, look, we're going to play the high risk, high reward football. We're going to distribute a high defensive line. You guys are going to be pressing very high. You guys are going to be taking more risk. You guys are going to have to take way more risk in your guys' passing, the way that you guys do your through balls, the final passes. If you guys find that small little chance, just take it. Go 100% in. And that really did surprise many teams in the league, especially because they did not expect for Barcelona to go that high risk, because the football that they saw coming from Barcelona in the previous season was very conservative, right? It was very safe, very, I would just say, slow. The passes were going left and right. They were trying to look for that chance. They were saying, okay, like, we're not going to make that pass to that player unless it's like 90% certain that the goal could happen. That was the type of football that Barcelona had under Xavi Hernandez. And so can you imagine being one of those teams in the league, just looking at Barcelona in the next season and being like, oh my God, like, bro, like, why are they playing so fast, so vertical, so like what's going on? How do we even figure out this high defensive line? Like, we're trying to pass it to one of our attackers, but they're always offside. So they were trying to figure us out, and it was very hard, right? It was very hard, and that's why Barcelona were very exciting, scoring many goals, just surprising and overwhelming the opposition. And so because of that, we won the league title, we won the Copa del Rey, the Spanish Super Cup. We ended up being in the semifinals of the Champions League. Lewandowski scored like 40 goals in one season. Lamine Yamal scored like 20 plus goals in one season, more than 25 goal contributions in one season as well. Rafinha had 51 or 52 goal contributions in that season as well. So like, Barcelona were amazing. However, there were limitations in that season, and those limitations were, it was not from our high defensive line, it was not because of our offside trap, it was not because of how we pressed and how well we attacked and how well we took those risks. The limitation was, if Yamal went down, the whole squad is over, right? Our attacking momentum will go down. If Rafinha went down, our momentum in the attacking line will go down. If Lewandowski went down for an injury, we all go down, right? And the results in those last 2 or 3 months of the season back then did showcase that it only took one player from that prime 11 to destroy the whole goddamn thing, right? There was a moment where they had to come out in the first leg against Inter Milan. It really did destroy us. We saw the ramifications of that. The same thing could be said with Lewandowski. Lewandowski did miss a few matches in those last 2 months that resulted in us now going for the quadruple, right? Going for the 4 total trophies that Barcelona could have won, which was the Champions League. And so clearly, our 11 was very strong. So when we did it and everybody was available, we did it very well. But when one player was down, Barcelona went down. And that was the limitations, right? So I think that when we went on to the next season with Flick and Deco and Joan Laporta continuing to manage this infamous team, which is, and now we're going to talk about the current season that we're in. they realized this problem, but they also realized that they were not in the financial situation where they can just say we're going to sign this player and that player to really cover for our lack of plan Bs, and because our squad depth was not so great, right? Because like I said, if one player went down, everything else went down. So we signed John Garcia, right, which was good because he is becoming one of the best goalkeepers in the world. We signed Rooney Barty, even though that's not the most ideal right winger that can complement and go toe to toe with Lamine Yamal. He's still very good, but not where we want to be. And we also signed Marcus Rashford on loan, a player that is good, is decent, but very inconsistent. He, on his best level, yes, he can be as efficient as Rafinha, but he's not usually at his best level. But all in all, those were the moves that we made, and I think that Barcelona could have done better, but we did something. We made some moves. We had to react in some way. I would say that, with the departure of Inigo Martinez, that did hurt us a lot. We also gained Joao Cancelo in January. We also promoted Marc Bernal immediately into the first team, getting all the minutes, and he is showing promise. Hansi Flick also had to readjust himself because of Inigo Martinez and his departure, going to Al Hilal and making all that money, which I understand because he is 33 years old. But Hansi Flick was forced to really try and adjust Marc Bernal as one of the main starters in that backline and bring the same defensive and offensive results that Inigo Martinez did bring. But it's not the most ideal. It's not the type of moves that would make Barcelona the most competitive team and the best team in the world, where it makes us unstoppable. Clearly, ideally, Barcelona would have loved to sign one of the best center backs in the world, one of the best number nines in the world, one of the best left wingers in the world, one of the best right wingers in the world, because that is what Barcelona is. Barcelona is a team that can attract and be able to afford the best players in the world. Unfortunately, we have not been able to do that through a mix of different issues because of poor management, because of the pandemic that happened 5 to 6 years ago, and because of all of these other investments that Barcelona have to make. And I think that we're currently on track to become that team again. It is going to be taking some time, and that is the reason why it was a huge celebration for me to see Joan Laporta continue his sporting and economic project with the club, because he will take us to a good level. So let's step away from that, right? Because now we're going to go through the hypothetical team that could happen in the next season, because clearly, as we discussed, now we know the issues. We know what Barcelona needed to do to really back Hansi Flick's squad and make this squad competitive in all levels. And this is explaining the reason why Deco is looking to strengthen the left back and right back positions, because he wants to permanently sign Joao Cancelo. Joao Cancelo is a player that can bring the goals and the assist. He is a player that can be the backup to either Jules Koundé or Alejandro Balde in case they ever do get injured, just like how Balde got injured against Inter Milan in the first leg. And so we also have the idea of permanently signing Marcus Rashford, because he's a great market opportunity for 30 million euros. Hopefully Manchester United give us the grace and the blessing to just tell us that yes, you guys can pay the 30 million euros in installments for the next 5 to 6 years or whatever, right? And we can just pay only maybe 8 million euros in the first year of Marcus Rashford becoming a Barcelona player. So we have that idea. And then we also have Alessandro Bastoni, a player that is very much real, that could really become a Barcelona, like he could actually become a Barcelona player, because Bastoni wants to explore that idea. Bastoni is going to be a player that can reinforce the left center back position and become that main starter to pair up with Pau Cubarsí, and at the same time go toe to toe with Gerard Martin. And we want to see that because Gerard Martin already gives us a good level. Can you imagine adding Bastoni, right? So what if Martin gets injured in the next season? Bastoni can be there. If Bastoni gets injured, Gerard Martin can be there, and we maintain our level in the starting 11 no matter what happens, because you just never know, right? So like, there are times in Barcelona seasons where they have to go up against, let's just say, for example, Inter, and then in the next match, Atletico, and then in the next match, Espanyol in a derby, or then after that, Chelsea. Like, you just never know. You want to be competitive all the time, regardless of whatever injuries do come in our way. So it's been said that Barcelona have everything under control for Bastoni, that most likely he is going to be costing around 60 to 65 million euros, which will be amazing to really lock down. And it has also been said that Barcelona have no problem signing Bastoni for the wages that he does demand, which could be around like 7 to 8 million euros, which is really not a lot. It's not. Like, I know a couple of players in the MLS who are getting paid more than that, but he is a priority target. Most likely he'll be in our squad in the next season. I will give it like a 60 to 65% chance. And then for the other position, which is Julian Álvarez, That is why they want to sign Julian Alvarez, because of what we talked about before. Lewandowski has missed numerous games. Sometimes when he does play, he does not really give that much of an output, but clearly there needs to be an upgrade in the number 9 position. I'm going to be talking about different alternatives, cheaper options in case the whole Julian operation does not end up working out because of maybe the wages, maybe because Atletico Madrid are making it very difficult for us. We're going to be talking about cheaper options in a separate video because I do think that those cheaper options could also be very viable. But clearly, yes, they want to reinforce the number 9 position for the next season, and that is with Julian. And then you also have the inclusion of Marc Bernal, Gerard Martin, all adding in more experience, more game experience, getting better. They're upgrading our DM roles, they're upgrading our defensive line roles, right? So it's exciting. And when you look at that squad that could happen in the next season, you have Joan Garcia, you have Jules Koundé, Araujo, Pau Barsi, Bastoni, a key upgrade, like I've said. Somebody who can make those passes through the center, like what Inigo Martinez did, because Bastoni is just one hell of a passer, one hell of a ball distributor, somebody who can just take a long ball all the way to either Rafinha or to Lamine Yamal and just instantly put Barcelona in a situation where they can't score a huge goal. So he's going to be huge, guys. Like I'm telling you guys. And then you have Alejandro Balde with Gerard Martin, who can also play there as well. You can also have a very defensive line in certain occasions where you can have Martin on the left back position, Bastoni and Araujo on the center back positions, and then you have Jules Koundé. That's a very defensive defensive line. So you have that. You also have Marc Bernal, Pedri, Frankie, Gavi. You also have Casado, Fermin Lopez, Lamine Yamal, Julian Alvarez, Lewandowski, Rafinha, Marcus Rashford. That's great because you can rotate so much and maintain your level. So I do think that once again, you compare the 2024-2025 team to the 2026-2027 team, you maintain many different ideas. You maintain the high intensity gegenpressing. You maintain the high defensive line, the offside trap, the possession with purpose, right? Having the possession and scoring goals, bringing in that vertical great buildup that we once had in the previous season with Bastoni and Kubarsi. You have those inverted wingers creating the overloads. You have the fullbacks providing the width. You have at the same time still having that La Masia identity with Yamal, Kubarsi, Gavi, Marc Bernal. You can also maybe include Gerard Martin, even though he was only with us for like 2 seasons in the youth divisions. You definitely do have those key upgrades that you can have from that core team in the 2024-2025 season, with Bastoni, Cancelo, Bernal being like an anchor as well. And all in all, though, it's a near perfect tactical team. And if we can accomplish all of those signings, for sure, that next season hypothetical squad will be a superior squad to the one that we saw in the first season under Flick, and can definitely compete for all competitions with no problems, regardless of the injuries, of the fatigue, because everybody will have a good amount of game time. That team, man, will be superior in terms of the quality, the depth, the sustainability. It'll be beautiful, and we'll for sure see the peak of Hansi Flick's football next season if we can achieve those signings. Like whatever Flick does desire and whatever he does image for Barcelona and how he wants this Barcelona team to perform and what he wants them to do and look like, you can for sure achieve that if you give him these type of tools and these type of players. It'll be peak Hansi Flick football. From there, I think that your number one goal would be to just maintain that level for the next 3 to 4 to 5 years, which is the reason why I want Flick to extend his contract past 2027. Because if Flick ends up leaving in the summer of 2027 for whatever reason, maybe he feels tired, maybe he feels like he's just lacking ideas and he just wants to like maybe calm down, because you just never know. You never know. This is football. Then I think that if Flick were to leave in the summer of 2027, knowing that he's leaving this team with Yamal, Julian, Bastoni, Kubarsi, Pedri, all of these players, right? Like you better bet that there's going to be multiple managers out there in Europe that are really going to want to accept that job to coach this beautiful, amazing young team, for sure. Like Flick will be leaving Barcelona with just one hell of a squad, bro. One hell of a squad. But all in all, that's assuming that if Flick leaves. I want Flick to stay here until like 2035, if that's even possible. Very similar to what Guardiola has been doing with City. Guardiola has not left City for a reason. It's because he knows he has one hell of a team. He has one hell of a backing in terms of the financials. He can sign whatever he does want. But Barcelona are going to be in a similar spot with Flick. And I want that to happen. I want that relationship, because if this is going to be Flick's last team to coach, then he better go out with a bang and be here for a good minute, and give us all of the trophies possible. So that is it, right? That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.